Do you think BP should be prosecuted for sabotaging themselves with the oil spill? Now, I personally, it's not proved that they sabotaged themselves. If they did, obviously they should be prosecuted. Well, it is true that Goldman Sachs did sell, I believe, $250 million of stock before the oil spill, which is a little bit convenient. But I personally think that it's just another one of those conspiracies that Americans will think was a conspiracy for a long time. The RKOWNEDU, what are your thoughts on Dos Caras, aka Alberto del Rio? Haven't seen much. Decent promo from what I've seen. How far do you think you'll go in the WWE? Heard he wanted to wear a mask, but WWE said no because Ray was already wearing the mask. He might go decently far compared to other wrestlers. I haven't seen him in the ring yet, though, so I can't answer that question. Who has the best theme music in the WWE? I don't think it's the best music. I just think it's the best entrance, and that would be R-Truth. That's what got him over, his entrance, and now WWE wants to change it because they're fucking morons. Theme music, I don't know. There's a lot that I liked. I don't know. Voices is cool, I guess. What would be yours and Voices? What are your thoughts on Toy Story 3? Awesome! 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 Probably my favorite animated movie of all time. I liked it more than the first two. And I cried during it. Twice. I'm man enough to admit it. I saw the movie twice. Once with my family, and then I saw it with my best friend. And I cried both times. So yeah, call me a bitch all you want. That movie's awesome. That was my favorite movie when I was young. Which gimmick has longevity and why? $1 Million Boy, Ted DiBiase, or Dashing Cody Rhodes? Well, $1 Million Boy's already been done. Dashing Cody Rhodes has already been done. They're both old rehashed gimmicks. I guess I'll go with the guys themselves. Ted DiBiase's bland as fuck, and he needed Maurice, and Maurice is still not adding a lot to him. While Cody Rhodes is getting genuine heat from this thing, look at his reactions on SmackDown and NXT, especially look at NXT where he does shit with Husky Harris, where the crowd was so loud he had to pause himself and tell him to be quiet. So yeah, I think from that sense, that might work better just because I think Cody's working the gimmick pretty well. And Smash G1, why do people automatically assume an indie wrestler sucks if they're used in a squash match for Ring of Honor? I think merely it's because these guys don't get a lot of offense in said squash match. The crowd doesn't buy much into them, and people view Ring of Honor as the point where the best indie wrestlers are, and if you are not good enough to be a full-time member of Ring of Honor and only be on the job squad, then you're not considered one of the best. And most indie fans, what people don't realize is there's a shitload of indies out there. So in people's eyes, if you're not a part of ROH, PWG, Chikara, CCW, Evolve, Dragon Gate, those indies, not the other minor indies all around the country, then you must not be that good. I wouldn't say sucks. I would say they must think that he's just some nobody indie wrestler, which isn't the case most of the time. And I think they never really truly tried to give this guy a chance. Silas Young being one of them, who I'm a fan of. 804-311-3190. What are your thoughts on Mistico? He's a legend. Bigger draw than John Cena in a few years for Mexico. Dave Meltzer actually commented on this in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that I'm holding in my hands. That here, I'm going to read you the line word for word. The WWE, most promotions nowadays market themselves as promotions, and the wrestlers themselves are not used as a draw, but the promotion themselves. I wonder if anyone, not in WWE from the current era, will ever make it because companies don't sell themselves around individuals much as the company name. Mistico would probably be the only exception. So, yeah. True Colors 05. What 38 TNA Superstars do you think should retire right the fuck now? Nash. Sting, I will agree, Sting does add a little to TNA. But I've said it before and I said it again. He is there for a purpose. I just don't like him having the title shots, being in the main event scene. None of that. Don't like it at all. Stop it. So yeah, Sting and Nash, I would say. On WWE, to be honest, I would say Undertaker. Sorry. It's the truth. The guy can't work a really long match. Injured, very injured by this point. Has to take months and months off whenever he comes back. I mean, look at him. He came back finally. He came back before he even had a pay-per-view match. He had the match with Ray, and then he got hurt again. The guy's fragile. He can't move that quickly anymore. I honestly think he should retire. So yeah, for all you WWE marks, again, Sorry. Yeah, I picked this up today. These Slippery Cups are awesome. And, sorry. Alright, who do you think the secret GM is the secret GM of Raw? I've heard it's pretty random, and I heard Jim Cornette say on his Cornette commentary that it was Ole Anderson. He might have just been kidding around, but he said Ole Anderson loves that type of stuff. You know, he loved it with the Black Scorpion and Sting in the 80s. Oops, was I not supposed to say that? So yeah, I'm going to say Ole Anderson, as random as that is. LV5454, how would you book a Kurt Angle versus Bryan Danielson match? For the build to that, I would book Bryan Danielson, saying that people had compared them to as the two best wrestlers in the world. People had always see them to go at it with each other. And while it does sound corny, I think the game of one-upsmanship is the best way to go. Like, Danielson might do all his usual moves, like maybe he'll do a surfboard, maybe he'll do the stomp on the arm, and Angle will just like roll out of it and do another move and stomp on Angle, and maybe get some cheers for Angle, make him look like more of the veteran. Even no matter how great Danielson is, Angle was there first, and Angle was an Olympic wrestler and all this and that. And I think if done that way, the match could be ridiculously amazing. The Phenom 8809. If Goldberg had one more match, who would it be against? And would it be in the WWE? Goldberg actually just recently said again in this week's issue of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that he thought that he wanted to have one more match at WrestleMania at Atlanta because he wanted to have his kids see him wrestle. Because I think when he was wrestling, he didn't have kids, or they were very, very young. He wants his kids to see him wrestle, and if he's going to do it, it might as well be in the biggest stage of them all and in the place where he was known big, which was in Atlanta. Who would it be against? I don't know. Depends on what type of match Goldberg wants. He wants like a really good competitive match against another big man in the WWE. I mean, you might do Taker Goldberg, even though I think that's a little passé, and I think Goldberg won't job. But if Goldberg wants to squash the guy, if Goldberg wants to, it really is what Goldberg wants. And I personally think that Goldberg would want to go out on top. So maybe a guy like Kane or someone like that, you know, someone around his size where he would come out looking stronger. Bret Hart Foundation, do you think the Undertaker streak will ever end? I hope it doesn't. And if so, who do you think will end it? Crazy Mike talked about this last year in his Q&A. He thought that no one should break it because most likely, if anyone were to break it, it should be a young guy who could build off the push and the rub. But the thing is, WWE does these new Kofi Kingston, Evan Bourne, Miz pushes. I'm talking about Miz from last year, where they push the guy for a little bit, and then a month later they just say, fuck it. And they completely like erase him from memory. And I don't want them to just throw away breaking Undertaker's streak just for nothing. Next is Man on Fire 310 with one of the best Q&A questions I've ever got. Do you think the founders or innovators of companies like Joey Ryan, Mike Quackenbush, Hulk Hogan, etc. should be in the main event or top of the company immediately? I think in certain cases it works. I think, in the case of Mike Quackenbush, he was kind of the most known guy in Chikara because everyone else was his students. So to me, it makes perfect sense for him to headline most of the shows. Like, notice he doesn't headline most of them now. You could tell that he's still like an authority figure in Chikara, but like, he's not like the headliner of all the shows. Joey Ryan. Well, Joey Ryan was with 6 other guys, so that I don't have too much of a problem with. And Hulk Hogan was, the innovator of the WWE. Well, he didn't find the WWE, but like he was their first. He was a huge star for the WWE. So yeah, it made perfect sense for him to be in the main event. But do you think they should build their own stars? In the case of Hogan, he should help build the stars. In the case of Quackenbush and Ryan, I think Quackenbush is doing very well for himself in building his own stars, both figuratively and literally. Actually, not literally. You can't just take a wrestler, leg, stomach, arm. You know what I mean. And Quackenbush is helping his talent along the way. Joey Ryan, though, on the other hand, he had that little thing with Chris Hero, but Chris Hero was kind of already a star before Joey Ryan had his little feud with him. So I think he should do it a little more often. But, with Joey Ryan, with him, there were like 6 people, I believe. Scott Lost, Joey Ryan, I think Top Gun Talwar, and a few other people. Super Dragon. And there were 2 other guys. I can't remember. I believe the Young Bucks each bought a sixth of it, and it just became the Young Bucks. I think it was just the Young Bucks, Scott Lost, and Joey Ryan. Again, I could be wrong on that. So, Joey Ryan was, if Joey Ryan, it's like Joey Ryan single-handedly found it. So, yeah. Oh shit, this thing is getting really long. Is it unfair to the rest of the town for guys like Joey Ryan and Hulk Hogan to be on top of their companies? You know, for Joey Ryan, like I said, he was like champion for a year. I don't think it really is unfair. I think, you know, he found the company. Again, maybe he was probably the most well-known. He would probably have a lot to offer, a lot to help with the young guys through his title reigns and stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, he shouldn't be like all over the product. And he's not. Look at the shows now. He's not. Hulk Hogan was a different story. Last question. Finally. No offense. Just, you know, I'm not used to making a video 40 minutes at a time because I get really tired. Dre Don 16, if you could have any roster from any year, from any promotion, what would it be? I would have to go with WCW in 1997. I would actually go with either TNA 2007 or WWE in 2002. Probably WWE in 2002 because you had a lot of star power. You had The Rock, Austin, Triple H, Hogan, Jericho, even Lesnar for his time, Undertaker. Just, that was when the WWE had its best possible roster. So yeah, I would say 2002 WWE. And as far as wrestling-wise, I would say 2007 TNA or something like that. So yeah, that was my longest shit Q&A. I'm sorry if it took 3 parts. I'm sorry you guys had to sit through this. Again, please go subscribe to The Breakdown. Really appreciate it. And go subscribe to the Wrestling Observer. All right, I'm Bigrat310. I'm out, guys. See you. Sorry again, man.